let's talk a little bit more about your college experience.
Yeah, get into it.
You went in there, you're going to be a screenwriter.
Yeah.
What changed?
I was super attracted to screenwriting. I loved writing a lot in my teens. I actually had an amazing writing mentor, Kristen Hangy. She's a Tony-nominated director, and she's directed some really incredible films as well. And she taught me everything I needed to know about screenwriting, and I wrote a feature. She encouraged me to do a reading for that feature. I did a reading with like all of my actor friends, got them all together in one of those studios in New York, Ripley Greer Studios. And from there, I ended up flying out to LA, and I pitched it to a couple studios out here, which was like the coolest thing at the time because I was literally 15 years old. But going to Emerson, knew that I wanted to be around scripts. And in doing so, I immediately leveraged my network the second I got in, because I had committed in December, which is not super typical for colleges. Like, I got in early, and then I was like, I'm going. Like, I knew I wanted to go there. So I immediately started reaching out to current students, alumni, all those things, and found this development company that was hiring an intern. And I actually started my first internship before I started my first ever class at Emerson.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm a little nuts, but
I am not actually surprised at that. Just knowing the level of drive that you have, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
and
it's
actually,
pretty crazy.
Even looking back, like when I went to college, like we didn't have access to that kind of stuff. Like the fact that you have like all the technology to be able to reach people like that really didn't involve. You gotta remember, when I went to college, like when I started, that was when Facebook was only for college students. So I mean, like you couldn't even talk to the college students unless you had a Facebook. So like nowadays you can reach out and go on LinkedIn, and someone's already probably putting that there. I'm a sophomore at Emerson, and you're like, oh, hey, let's talk.
Exactly. It was honestly, I'm so glad that I did that. But yeah, I started working for this development company called Brynne Films in New York, small boutique development company. And it was through doing that I realized I was more attracted to the operations of the business than I was doing script coverage and being with the scripts themselves. Like, I wanted to be doing outreach to agents and managers at CAA and WME. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I wanted to know how the organizational structure was actually working in the company and how company finances were being managed. So I was one of the only interns that actually stayed, and I transitioned from a development intern, like a true creative position, to a business and outreach intern. And that really changed the course of my life. So it was all very natural, like going from the screenwriting into my whole business side of things. I followed that in myself, and I knew it was funny. I was like, I might be a little bit more like my parents than I thought I was, because they're not creative. But yeah, I followed that truly. Like, I believed in myself and shifted over.
Yeah, and you went to Emerson to do what though? What was your actual major?
Oh yeah, well, my major was technically called visual media arts, but that is film. I studied film.
Yeah. So you were in the film program.
I was in the film program.
Yeah.
And then I ended up declaring a double minor in business and economics.
Wow.
Yeah. But I dropped my my economics minor eventually because I wanted to graduate early, and I was on path to graduate early. So I was like, I'm just not going to finish my econ minor. But I took some of the most incredible economics classes ever, where I learned about Hollywood economics, because that's what film school has.
Great to take the classes. Don't necessarily need the paper.
Yeah.
That was actually my wife went through a similar thing when she was in college, and it was like she was doing managerial and organizational communications with a minor in PR. And then she also had a double minor in Spanish, and she's like, well, it'd be good to have like finish out Spanish and maybe like be able to use it for within PR or whatever. And then it got to a point where it was like she didn't enjoy it anymore, and I was like, do you really need this? Like, are you actually going to do PR in like Mexico or something?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, probably not. And I was like, well, don't stress yourself out about school. Just like,
it's just
focus
funny.
on what you really want to do.
For me, I ended up actually using economics quite a lot. Like, understanding the economic backbone of Hollywood and the creative economy was 100%. One of the most pivotal things of why I actually am able to build Hike in a meaningful way. So I definitely used my knowledge very well. I still kept in touch with my econ professor that I had in college. He ended up actually doing some data science work for Hike. So
Wow.
crazy, like that actually happened. But yeah, I loved the classes that I took. I just like soaked up the knowledge that I could. And then I was like, and I'm ready to graduate and go into the world. But while I was at Emerson, one of my favorite things was being a part of the organizations that they had on campus, because those organizations truly mimic real life, and you're constantly in touch with people who are actively pursuing incredible careers in the industry.
And hopefully some of the alumni are still staying involved with it.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I was the line producer of the Evie Awards, which was the largest broadcasted student award show in the world.
Wow.
And we, in one of my years as line producer, we actually gave the Daniels the Alumni Award, which was really cool. And they were
Very
involved in
cool.
the show. So that was one of the coolest things ever, because the Daniels are so renowned.
There was also something called Frames Per Second.
Yeah, Frames Per
Tell us a
Second.
little
That
bit
was
about
one
that.
of the best orgs that I became a part of. I joined that org my freshman year. I was the workshop coordinator my first year. So
That's a
in
lot
that
to take on.
position, I knew I wanted to be involved. Like I didn't just want to join a club. I wanted to be on the executive board of the club. So
I know, but it's just so ambitious as a freshman. Like, I want to be on the board. It's like crazy.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I joined that club. I was the workshop coordinator. Really cool stuff. It was essentially planning workshops every week for 9 weeks with people in the industry. And I had some cool people come. Actually, Kristen, who I mentioned earlier, she came, and that was really cool because she got to speak about being a woman in the industry. And yeah, we had some really, really amazing workshops. I had Ed Vicola, who is an Emerson alumni. He's a writer on Rick and Morty. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
he came. This was many years ago now. I'm kind of blanking on the other ones, but we had some really, really fun ones. I know we had a budgeting workshop. It was great. Anyways, besides the point, I started as workshop coordinator, and around that time, I was realizing that all of these filmmakers at Emerson were making so many films. Like, we literally, in our organization alone, we had a narrative program, right? And that was, we gave $10,000 to a 10-page script, essentially, and $4,000 or $5,000 to a 6 or 7-page script to make their films. And that was
Make their
like
short films. Yeah.
huge. Those are huge budgets for
Oh, it's
short
incredibly,
films. Yeah. I mean, people now are like begging for those types of budgets for shorts. So
Yeah, I mean, there's one of the filmmakers, actually the guy who won Best Picture
Yeah.
in the MoMeTU College Film Festival.
nice.
He made a short for $800.
Yeah. So cool. And
Like, and pulled favors and all this stuff, as much as he could do just to do that. And like, that's insane. $10,000 could really go a long way.
I
with a
know.
short film.
And they were. It was going a really long way. Like, these grants that Emerson was giving to their students, and the hundreds of thousands of dollars in free equipment, and our partnership with ARI. Like, we had so much that students were able to take advantage of, only for films to go nowhere. Like, they would end up online, just on YouTube or Vimeo or
I had
Instagram or TikTok.
I had the biggest pet peeve about that. It's just
Yeah.
like, you work so hard on your senior thesis, and then it just
Lives
Like,
there. It
you
just
go to
sits.
a few festivals and that's it. Like,
No, it wasn't even going to the festivals.
really?
Yeah. That
Oh,
that
that's
was
that's a
the
shame.
tricky thing. So what ended up happening is, Frames Per Second, we were like, we need a distribution program. Like, we need to start taking films beyond this
Absolutely.
weird, messed up system that we have so far, that the entire Emerson community has just like said yes to. And we were the first organization ever to launch Emerson's first ever distribution program. So I led that program in our first year and launched it. And we took 3 films through the festival circuit. And it was crazy because with just $350, $350, like, our school was like, okay, you get $350 per film. Let's see what you can do. We were actually able to get a couple Oscar qualifying festival laurels
So
for
cool.
those films. It was crazy, And these were films that otherwise may have just gone nowhere. And instead, they were reaching their audiences in a very meaningful way that, 1, was incredible for their personal careers, and 2, their films were getting seen by really, really cool audiences.
Yeah. I mean,
That was validation enough.
Yeah. mean, everything is resonating with me right now because it's just like, man, I'm just thinking more about like our festival too, because it's like it's literally
Yeah.
all those things that you're mentioning. It's like all the drive that I have behind like getting the development behind like a short to a feature and making sure that we put all these films on Momitu for 30 days so that like we can get more eyeballs. We had over 500,000 minutes watched of the short films, 83 short films from 38 different colleges and universities. Like, what other film festival that like if you go to a local film festival, like you might get 200 eyeballs on it, like
Yeah,
on a good day,
for sure.
right? Like probably less than 100 on most.
So I want to share a pretty cool statistic.
Yeah, love it.
Carrie Putnam recently released a study last November with Harvard Shorenstein, and she was the former executive director of Sundance, for those who don't know. But she released a study about the independent film market. And in that, there was a whole section about film festivals. And she identified that annually there's actually 6.6 million attendees at US film festivals, just in the US alone. And when you think about that, that's no small number. And
No.
the fan base is estimated to be around 20 million people for those festivals.
Yep.
Like, it's not a fan base that doesn't actually exist. It's a fan base that needs to be converted into audience and attendees at those festivals, but that's besides the point. The audience base that you can tap into just by going on the festival circuit, there's such a call to own your own audience right now, especially with the creator economy and all of those trends. It's important that you're able to actually own your own audience, and the festival circuit is a way to do that. So it's really amazing what you guys are actually doing and how you're able to put so many eyes on a project beyond the festival. But anyways, back to the program. Yeah. So that year after we had so much success with like such a huge limitation and tiny budget, I won Student Leader of the Year. So that was really cool. My parents were really proud of me. And
I was gonna be like, of course you did. But yes, no, that's incredible.
yeah, so I won Student Leader of the Year, and then I started getting submissions from students at other film programs.
Wow.
And I didn't market the program outside of Emerson.
They just heard about it.
Yes. So it was this word of mouth thing where I was like, okay, we identified this problem within Emerson. And beyond that, now there's this call for filmmakers elsewhere that are experiencing the same issue. It was such an organic problem that I identified. And I was like, I think I have something here. So I spent that entire summer just speaking to filmmakers all over the country, whether that be other student filmmakers. I think I spoke to filmmakers at 12 film schools that summer. And beyond that, independent filmmakers of all shapes and sizes, per se, like filmmakers who hadn't attended any festivals ever to filmmakers who had played Sundance and Cannes multiple times. And across the board, I was finding this thread that independent films didn't know how to find the right audiences. They didn't know which festivals were even right for them. And beyond that, they didn't know how to get their films outside of the festival circuit. Like less than 10% of independent films are securing meaningful distribution beyond the festival circuit. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to solve for this. And with literally no knowledge about business whatsoever. I mean, I had obviously done my internships and I was in the business roles there, but like I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. It's not like I was at school studying entrepreneurship or anything. I kind of had to figure it out as I decided to build this company. So I signed up for a startups class and I started going to events in Boston. Obviously Emerson's in Boston, but yeah, the Boston entrepreneurship ecosystem, the startup ecosystem is truly wonderful. So there was events like multiple times a week, every week, and I would go to as many of them as I could. And I would go alone. I was the least knowledgeable person in the room, but I kind of just soaked up as much knowledge as I could learn at those things. It was funny. At first, it felt like a different language. Like I talk about that a lot. Like it truly feels like a different language when you just get thrown into it. And I remember I would just scribble down terms that I needed to search up later. Yep. And now it feels so cool to be like fluent in the language. But yeah, it all happened simultaneously. It was like I was learning about entrepreneurship as I was trying to build a company.
Thanks for spending your time with us today on the More For Me and You podcast. If you've made it to the end, we appreciate you. Now, go do us a quick favor. Please like, comment, and share this episode. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode with the incredible guests we have coming up. You can also follow us at Momi2 Podcast on Instagram and on TikTok. Oh, and for your next movie night, check out the Momi2 app. It's free and packed with amazing movies and shows you've probably never seen. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the pod.